Huzzah, everybody! As usual, it's I, Revenant84. Hello to all my beautiful tubers out there tonight, YouTubers or potatoes, take your pick. Either way, you have taken root with me tonight, pun very much intended, so I thank you, Banff Nation, for joining me as usual. Tonight, I will finally be delivering on that next promised musical atrocity, the next one to be decimated into tiny little nuggets of joy for us to pick apart and just pick the bones clean of like Carry On. And tonight is a doozy. Hopefully I did not leak it or spoil the surprise for anybody. So tonight we're taking a very special song, and a very special band, one that has been a hindrance, a thorn in my side for a very, very long time now, the Goo Goo Dolls. But we'll get that in a minute. As you see, I have a new shirt tonight from the concert I was at last night. Swaggity swag! Okay, no, none of that. No, this is not the Holocaust. Anywho, so let's talk about this song. It is their new song. It is called Rebel Beat. Of course, I'll be giving you an overview. I'll be giving you a synopsis of this. We'll dissect it a little bit. And of course, I'll give you a little bio and why exactly I hate this damn band so much and why they're just like a turd that you flush 10 times in your toilet and they refuse to go away. In the 80s and 90s, but still have not given up today. Filled with radio-ready riffs and lyrics so paint by number, no assembly required, that they could be used for English as a second language tutors, this track oozes with apathy towards fans and critics alike. It's a shameless push for success, and yet another feel-good summer anthem that we know I am oh so fond of. It's featured on their 89th comeback album, Magnetic, which I can only assume is aptly named for the phenomena of how much effort the Goos put into staying relevant and not losing their fan base. Or perhaps how possibly this damned rapidly aging Dole's dishwater band is to wash off the hands of VH1 and FM radio. Ironically, their music somehow manages to overreach and underwhelm simultaneously, teaming with try-too-hard ambition, alternating with bland, lackadaisical AOR dime-a-dozen unmemorableness. It seems to be desperate to be current and captivate a younger hipster or pop audience, yet rehashes their fail-safe formula like a reheated plate of soggy-ass Arby's fries. I've never heard a band try to sound so dated and yet so trendy at the same time. It's blustery, it's formulaic, but mostly just bland. Nice and Rodanthe bland. Televised badminton bland. Boiled potatoes, cottage cheese, white rice, and cabbage bland. Riddle Beat makes Iris look as daring and adventurous as Idiotech. It makes Nora Jones seem downright vivacious, a bottomless well of effervescent magnetism. As you can tell, I'm already really excited to be digging into this. Do you see the suffering I go through for you people, how much I love you? I am suffering for my art. Y'all are going to cause a premature death to me listening to this dreck. But I do it. I do it for the love of my fans. I do it more because it's a lot more fun to talk about music you hate than music you like as well. And yes, I know this is part of Awful Music August. I know it's not technically August anymore. It's like 2 a.m. here. Fuck it, I say as long as I'm awake, it's August. You know what? And then whenever I do the rest of them, because there are more coming, there's going to be at least 2 more coming, maybe 3. I guess I'll just change the name to like Sonorifically Shitty Stupid September or something. I don't know. Because in Texas, September's still a pretty shitty month. Today it was 104. So, yeah, I'm also dying literally because there's a sauna in here. So, besides all the reasons I just gave for how much I hate them, the fact they just have a long-running track record of mediocrity. Ever since Iris came out in 1997, and I had to hear it 10 fucking million times off the City of Angels soundtrack. I didn't like that movie. I don't like that song. I didn't like that video. And I have personal reasons why. Yes, it's because I remember the Goo Goo Dolls when they were good. They have the capability to actually do decent music. They're just struggling with an immense, huge midlife crisis. And they don't know how to repackage themselves. So, they are going with the why can't you fix a broken thing, you know, and just leave it as it is. I kind of wish Google and YouTube would take that approach, but more on that some other time, because I've got a whole lot to talk about that too. But besides that, their long-running, just barely passing by, which to me it doesn't. Hopefully no one buys this record and they get the hint. I will give them a positive say the album art is very badass, way too badass for a Goo Goo Dolls album art. It looks like it belongs on like a Suicidal Tendencies album or something. Definitely not them. Maybe even at the worst like a Buck Cherry album cover. But ooh, who would win that one? Both of them are pretty fucking terrible. Buck Cherry's the worst Aerosmith ripoff I've ever seen in my entire life, and Aerosmith is a fucking blues rock Led Zeppelin ripoff. But anyway, besides that, one very important thing I like to touch on that nobody ever talks about with the Goo Goo Dolls, and another good reason they suck, is this clip right here, which is the Goo Goo Dolls playing a 4th of July festival. I'm playing the song I was just showing you clips of a second ago from Slide. You would think after doing this song live for 15 fucking years, they would have it down to like a fine science. You think these old fuckers could do this in their sleep? But no, you see that their guitar is out of tune, and they have their stagehand give them a different guitar. Everyone blamed the stagehand and said it's his fault. You know, and I don't know if it is or not. Maybe he was a rookie. Maybe he wasn't their usual sound guy. Sometimes that happens. Being a friend of a lot of musicians, I can tell you this. Sometimes you go to a show, and you just have to deal with the crew that's there, with the sound guy that's there, and all the techies that are there, and they don't always know what they're doing, or they're not always acclimated to your equipment, and it might run a little bit differently than the equipment they used before that. So I wouldn't say necessarily that guy's fault. And I mean, I know plenty of bands, they don't have people who do this for them. They tune their own shit on stage and make sure it sounds good for every song. So that's not an excuse as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, look at the lovely hissy fit that Johnny Resnick throws whenever the song does not come out the way that he wants. He can't play it right.
Oh, that's the wrong guitar. Sometimes they just don't behave themselves and they gotta be taught a lesson.
Did you hear that? That was the sound of a million guitarists across the world screaming in unison, throwing their arms up in the air going, "Why?" What? No! As a musician, one of the first things you're taught is your guitar is like your child. You treat it better than you do your significant other sometimes. That thing takes precedence above all else, especially if you're a broke-ass musician because it costs a lot of money. Just the gall, the self-pride of that prick to toss his guitar across the stage because it wasn't tuned right. I mean, don't blame your inadequacies as a musician, because we all know he is a shitty technical guitarist too. He's not a great vocalist and he's not a great guitarist. So at least be honest and just go, "Whoops, my bad," and fix it yourself. Don't throw it across the stage and sit there like a petulant little whiny bitch waiting for the stagehand to bring you another one. I hope one day some pissy stage guy gets mad at you and chunks your ass across the stage.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Again.
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
The Goos make sure this track is as mild and inoffensive with its adult contemporary pop sensibilities as possible for all the 9-to-5ers that can't have anything with heart, soul, or variety inhibiting their sleep. It pays much akin to a contemporary soft rock artist like Jack Johnson or John Mayer doing a second-rate rendition of an old, worn-out Billy Joel, Bryan Adams, or even maybe George Michael song. The "Hey, hey" shout-along choruses clearly show influence of newer, trendy outfits like the Lumineers or Mumford & Sons. However, these substandard melodic midlife crisis victims' most egregious offense is still milking the success of Iris and Dizzy Up the Girl. It's only 15 years later. Get over it. When Johnny Resnick finds a formula that works, he does not deviate. Much like similarly themed Stagnant associates Bon Jovi, Foo Fighters, or Staind, they are more than content to release the same record over and over and over again, with different titles, like some nauseating AOR carousel. Their current demographic, which falls somewhere between young, not yet urbanized foreigners, and moms who are still asking their teenage kids what the hell a Skrillex is exactly, this will go largely unnoticed. However, indie 90s kids who cut their teeth on the Goo's Metal Blade days will understandably be even more further off-put and incredulous at the band's slow yet steady decline into comatose commercialism. To those listeners who were spoiled on Superstar Car Wash and punky anti-authoritative sneering rockers like Long Way Down and We Are the Normal, this Goo Goo Dolls incarnation will induce dyspepsia with its diet romantic, self-appointed white knighting pretentious repertoire of songs about how emotionally supportive they want to be, and if I wanted to listen to that, I could pick up a Bruno Mars album. To go from being influenced by such veterans and musical magnates like the replacements Paul Westerberg, Husker Du, Buffalo Tom, and the Ramones to fluffier fare with more in common to Matchbox 20, or an even more tepid, only slightly more lyrically adept Train, The Fray, Snow Patrol, or Lifehouse on Paxil, is to say at least disappointing and a travesty. It's substantially less enjoyable than having Manny Pacquiao work over our groin for a few rounds. Like an unchecked growth that refuses to quit, a cyst comprised entirely of faux sentimental aphorisms and Botox, its ultimately mind-numbing feel-good attitude only serves to incite more rage. More appropriately, their hamminess is wearing thin at a breakneck pace. The meat is almost stripped and the bone is beginning to show through, and if their minimal effort facade continues, there will be nothing of substance left to throw to the lions. Claimed to be rock, but plays it too safe to fit the conventional criteria of authentic rock, it seems the Goos are happily resigned and complacent to custom engineering soundtracks for generic family flicks and Nicholas Sparks film adaptations. Before they went commercial, I used to say the band was the best thing to come out of Buffalo. The Buffalo Chicken Wing has since reclaimed its #1 status, safe to say. So let's summarize, gang. 1. The Goo Goo Dolls gave up 20 years ago, apparently. This is very establishable by anything they've released since Dizzy Up the Girl. Sad to say, Dizzy Up the Girl is the best album they've come out with since Dizzy Up the Girl. Everything's been a downhill mudslide of crap. Number 2, for a song called Rebel Beat, what the hell do they consider rebellious about it? Inquiring minds want to know. There's nothing rebellious about this song. It literally sounds like the soundtrack to a dental visit. Which I guess is also appropriate, because it's like pulling teeth to get a damn good song and it doesn't sound like the rest of their catalog. One day they're going to end up with the same fate as Nickelback, suing themselves accidentally because their songs sound so much the fucking same. Yes, that is true. If you don't believe me, go look it up, how Nickelback actually sued themselves for How You Remind Me and Someday, because they sound so similar. So, anyway, I don't think I can bear to listen to any more of this, and I don't have much more to say about the Goo Goo Dolls, because as much as I bitch and protest about them, they're probably not going to go away for another 20 years. They're going to be like any other insipid, washed-up 80s hair metal band, like Def Leppard, or Bret Michaels, which I've already talked about him too, because he's almost as fake as this guy, very close runner-up. Both of them, whenever they die, we'll just put them in the recycling bin. They can turn them into Legos for kids. That doesn't do any good to bitch about it because they're probably not going anywhere for a while. They're going to release 20 more albums of mainstream, you know, middle of the U.S., Midwestern, Nebraska rock for moms that'll go to the concerts and drink too many wine coolers and make ass out of themselves. No one else, I don't think, listens to Goo Goo Dolls anymore. Am I right, guys? Share your comments below. Do you listen to the Goo Goo Dolls? Okay, anything that I talked about earlier, from Superstar Car Wash and past that, or even A Boy Named Goo with name on it, anything that era over 4 is acceptable. I don't have an issue with that. When they were trying to sound like Soul Asylum, that's fine. That's cool. I don't have any problem with that. Anything after that, do you listen to it? You know, did you listen to Dizzy Up the Girl with your first girlfriend back in middle school and think it was super romantic back then, and now you kind of throw up in your mouth a little bit anytime you have that memory? But share your feedback below. There will be many more of these to come. Also, that psychotic lady that I promised you, I will be making a video about her. And also, speaking of songs that sound like a whole lot of other songs, there will be a video coming very soon about songs that you don't hear all the time that have some very interesting similarities. So you'll get to hear him kind of weigh in on that. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for any flames and or love letters or underwear you leave in my comment section. They are always appreciated. The flames as well. They keep my feet toasty when I'll actually need them this winter. I'll save them up like that, like a chipmunk ferreting away, you know, its hoard. Until the next episode, guys, chill. Thank you so much. Join the Vamp Nation. Join our revolution. And y'all have a beautiful, blessed day. Rock on.